The underdog story will never get old. From ancient mythical texts, through fairy tales, and all the way to modern sports and entertainment, the story of winning against all odds is something all of us enjoy and identify with. And while MMA is full of underdog stories and successes, very few, if any, are as inspiring and fascinating as that of Charles Oliveira. Born in the favelas of Sao Paulo, the Guarujá favela is nicknamed the Bronx, like the New York neighborhood, and is the home of Charles Oliveira. Growing up in poverty is challenge enough, but when he was 9, the young Charles was diagnosed with heart murmurs and rheumatoid arthritis. What followed were 2 nightmare years in a hospital, after which the doctors told him he wouldn't be able to play sports ever again. Thankfully, his parents didn't heed the doctor's advice, and at age 12, Charles found his home on the jiu-jitsu mats, and after only a month of training, he won his first tournament. Despite living in very poor conditions in the crime-ridden favelas, Charles managed to stay out of trouble while many of his friends died or went to prison. But grappling back then wasn't the lucrative sport it is today, and Oliveira changed his focus to MMA when he was 18, where he could make some money. Within just 2 years, Charles compiled a 12-0 record with just a single match ending in a decision. With quite a lot of hype and expectations behind him, the 21-year-old Oliveira was signed to the UFC, where he began his decade-long climb to the top.
Charles Oliveira, Darren Elkins, and we are underway.
Elkins grabs a hold of him, he's got him up, and down, scrambles to guard. He's got it locked up, Mike, right away. Oh, he's done.
All over.
Wow.
It is all over.
The hype is for real, man.
Here's the kid from Bronx.
Look at that.
Oliveira with that long reach. He's in a battle tonight.
Muay Thai clinch, jumping double knee.
Escudero tried to come from a different angle. Again with the little jump.
Flying knee as well.
Escudero.
There was a good kick by Escudero, but Oliveira's got all of them down.
Nicely done.
And Escudero scrambles to his feet quickly. Oliveira's got his back. Oliveira's got the choke.
Trying to submit Efrain Escudero.
Oh, he's got it in deep.
It is all over.
The beginning looked promising. The submission specialist tapped out his first 2 opponents with ease. But after the fast start, Oliveira got humbled and was submitted in the first round by Jim Miller.
Oh, head kick right away.
Inside leg kick.
And again the head kick, Joe.
And he's got him down, but he's got the leg.
And he's free. Efrain Escudero, submission of the night of Elkins.
For the arm. He's out of it.
Now, yep.
The kid's legs are like arms, man. Now he's attacking the leg.
Crazy busy.
You know? He just chains one thing into next. Oh, and he took him down. Look, he's going for a leg lock. Got a leg lock.
It is all over. It is all over. Jim Miller submits Charles Oliveira.
The loss was tough on Oliveira, not only because it was the first time he tasted defeat, but also because it came in his own domain, the ground, a theme that would repeat a few times over his career. After another tough loss, this time against Cowboy Cerrone, who performed a striking masterclass.
That's it!
It is all over! It is all over!
The Brazilian decided to come down to 145 and try his luck there, a common decision for fighters on a losing streak. He won his first 2 fights at featherweight, but the draining weight cut was taking its toll.
Out of it, but he's got to be careful here because Oliveira's going to take his back.
Look over it. Man, nice transitioning, and it is all over.
Oh, wow. The legs triangled. Look at the pressure on the knee. And how's he pulled him back even more?
We are underway. It's Brookins with the blue trunks.
With his striking, he's slipping punches and almost lands that knee to the face of Jonathan Brookins. And big right hand from Oliveira that rocked.
The fluidity with those leg kicks for Charles Oliveira.
Nasty right hand. He's landing combination after combination. His best strike so far.
And you see the more powerful strikes, as Kenny alluded to, are being landed.
And that's not what he wants.
It's about landing the takedown, but landing in the right place.
Short elbows to the face of Brookins, and he may have a guillotine here up on the neck, but it looks pretty tight here, John. Yep.
And there's the tap. Charles Oliveira.
Aggressive, pressuring style from Oliveira.
The first time he would miss weight was against Cub Swanson, who on top of that knocked him out in the first round.
Oliveira might be walking that one off. Oh, good right hand over the top.
And he's hurt.
Yeah, he's done.
And it is all over.
He's done.
Cub Swanson by knockout. Frankie Edgar and Charles Oliveira.
Although throws, kicks, relies more on boxing, he hurt him. He hurt him with the right hand. Frankie, if he can pull this fight off, is his boxing.
Wow. That's what's most amazing is the long fights that Frankie's been in with
Frankie. Oh,
there
beautiful combination. Beautiful leg kick. Oliveira looking much more sharp with his stand-up.
And now Frankie puts him on his back. Can he get a takedown yet? You heard his corner say, we're not sure where we
Frankie
are right
tagged
now.
him.
I mean, it was that step and elbow that Weidman used to finish Munoz.
Good combination by Oliveira.
Caught the leg.
Nice knee to the body by Oliveira.
And a couple of punches.
Good right hand on the top. He's hurt. He's hurt. He's hurt.
There's a left that connects. Another right hand.
Footwork of Frankie Edgar as he's setting up the shot. Oh, hammer fist.
They go the distance.
Fight.
Frankie, the answer, Edgar.
For years, Oliveira was a humble man who entertained the crowd every time he entered the cage. Crafty submissions over Andy Ogle.
That's it. There's the tap. Charles Oliveira.
Hatsu Hioki.
For that Darce again and again, now sitting to guard by Peruvian choke here, and he's got it, it's all over!
And Nick Lentz.
And here's where he's got it, that's tight. He's on the round the back of the head. Nick Lentz could go out here. See the agony on the face, that's it!
Charles Oliveira.
All earned in performance bonuses, and he was widely recognized as a high-level gatekeeper. But this was as far as he would reach, according to most people. But then came the downfall against Max Holloway. Oliveira fought for just a few minutes and dropped to the canvas, holding his shoulder region.
Set up position, submissions, even from the stand punch there, so something he's definitely been working on. Don't play jiu-jitsu with this kid.
Yeah, not going to mess around on the
he
canvas.
Maybe is. This is, oh no.
Looks like an injury to the shoulder of Charles Oliveira.
After de Bronx was stretched out, the injury briefly paralyzed the left side of his body.
First and foremost, I gotta thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And second, everybody, send your prayers to Charles, you know. It's a part of the game, and it's kind of sad to see that happen, you know. This is how we make a living, you know, so all my prayers to Charles. I hope he can have a full recovery.
Thankfully, Charles recovered quickly, and just 3 months later, he was back in the octagon. And yet another botched weigh-in. But the hard times weren't over. After a quick submission win over Miles Jury.
Jury's in all sorts of trouble. Charles Oliveira!
Oliveira was submitted first by Anthony Pettis and then by Ricardo Lamas. It became crystal clear that Oliveira couldn't make the featherweight limit consistently, and after a total of 4 times missing weight, the Brazilian returned to lightweight.
Official weight 153 from Mr. Oliveira, Charles Oliveira and Will Brooks.
All right, ready to go.
He digs with a left hook. Look at this. He's back up and he eats a knee. And wow,
Very good tight waist.
I mean, right away, he's standing rear naked,
right here, like
and he
David
can't get it.
Lyon.
Will is barely staying conscious here. He's tapped it. That's it. We got it.
Despite another performance of the night submission victory against Will Brooks, we could say Oliveira hit rock bottom. He was known as a fighter who had lethal skills but lacked the heart of a champion and would take the easy way out when things got hairy. And the label quitter became permanent after the Paul Felder fight. A few failed submission attempts put Oliveira in a bad spot, and he tapped out to the elbows Felder was raining down.
Oh! Huge elbow.
Paul Felder gets Charles Oliveira out of there.
The constant downplay of the public masses and even the people close to him who thought he was not good enough was so deeply rooted in Oliveira's head that they became the truth in the mind of the fighter.
O Paul Felder, que foi minha última derrota, ele era muito mais forte do que eu e eu, mano, eu tomei muita cotovelada. E você sabe, o cotovelo ele te deixa zoado. Eu sabia que eu tava com a carinha torta, mas, cara, eu tava vindo andando no aeroporto e todo mundo tava me olhando, né?
É, foda.
E eu falei, caraca, mano. E aí eu parei numa loja assim, quando eu olhei no espelho, mano, eu tava deformado. Eu peguei o óculos maior que tinha, que era o de mulher, meti o capuz e coloquei na cara e vim embora.
É, tem que levar óculos. Toda luta tem que levar óculos,
Falei,
cara. Porque
mano,
você nunca sabe como você vai voltar.
Quando eu sentei no
ligado?
avião, eu falei, mano do céu.
Tô moído.
Tô todo quebrado.
But the miracle began with the move to the Chute Boxe team. Oliveira went to the famous academy in Curitiba in search of better striking tutelage. But he found much more than that. he found a family that would take him to the top.
E a equipe fala, você é louco, você não tem como treinar. Eu falo, mano, e aí tipo, eu falo, se eu não treinar com vocês, eu vou treinar em outra equipe. Sabe? Porque, mano, eu queria dar a volta por cima. Eu sabia que, tipo, eu poderia ser melhor do que aquilo que eu tinha feito, sabe? Sabia que, tipo, eu tinha perdido porque ele era muito mais forte do que eu, que ele tinha sido melhor do que eu naquele momento.
O time fala uma família, viraram uma família de verdade, sabe? Os caras que, tipo, chora, vibra com você. O cara não me cobrou nada, o cara não me falou de dinheiro, o cara não me chegou e falou de porcentagem, o cara não me falou nada. Simplesmente ele falou, mano, só treina aí e vê o que você acha.
O treinamento é diferente, você sente que é mais intenso. Eu queria saber, ter curiosidade dessas
coisas. O espírito, irmão. Todo mundo quer a mesma... Eu falo muito assim, irmão, você quer voar, você tem que andar com a águia, irmão. Por que você vai andar com o pardal? O pardal ele vai andar aqui, a águia vai andar lá em cima, você tem que andar com os monstros. Você vai andar, você tem que andar com o leão, irmão.
His historical lightweight run began with 2 performance of the night victories. The first one against Clay Guida, and then Christos Giagos, both falling victim to the relentless submission game of De Bronx.
$150,000 in bonus money between these two fighters.
We go back down there and make that weight.
Nice left hand by Charles Oliveira.
Oh, nice knee. Oh, he cooked him with that right hand. There's that guillotine. Nasty. What he's great at. Terrible.
There's the tap. Charles Oliveira by submission.
Jimmy Smith, Brendan Fitzgerald, the 2-touch gloves. And what tied him with Royce Gracie. Spinning back kick. Nice timing. Full mount, 52 seconds left. Great job bucking him off. So Giagos passes the first test on the ground from Oliveira. And another one on the other side against the fence, and that's where he wants it. So what you got going out there with a false sense of security? Some kicks because Giagos hasn't been throwing one of those. Nice. One hook in, he's doing body triangle. He's got backpack. Arm is under. It's done. Looking for history. There it is. Charles Oliveira.
You passed the legend, Royce Gracie, for most submissions in UFC history. How does that feel?
You know, we're feeling a little bit of the pressure, but I have to thank these guys. And, you know, I only passed Royce Gracie's record because of these guys with me.
Then it was time to repair the first of many dents in his career caused by Jim Miller. This time, the veteran was helpless against the magical grappling performance of the surging Brazilian.
You don't want him on your back like this. That leg right in. Got a half Nelson on the far side. Both sides always in trouble. It's over. It's over. Oh yeah, it's over. It's over.
There's the tap. Charles Oliveira does it again.
Charles the Bronx Oliveira.
Plus 110 is the underdog. He's in the black. You got 3 rounds to work, so if you lose a point in a round.
Look at Oliveira's.
Oh, wow, a big shot by Tamer sends Oliveira to his back.
A beautiful left hand that he landed. Charles, come in, fire your shots, and then move, but that was big.
Put some striking on display as well. Oh, another knee, and that's a 9-9 round, but perhaps a 10-8. Shiver there from Oliveira.
This is it.
Who's letting it go? Charles Oliveira trying to end the fight with the Hail Mary, but look out. He's trying for another submission, and there is the...
The Bronx Oliveira.
Nobody in the UFC has more submissions than you. You are the submission master. How does that feel?
You know, I'm not the best. I'm just number one. And people always say, I only have submissions, but you know what? Come up here. I'm a striker when I'm on my feet. I'm a grappler when we're on the ground.
While already holding the record for the most submission victories in the UFC, Oliveira's striking game was looking more and more polished. And the 2 knockouts against Nick Lentz and Jared Gordon signaled the coming of a complete martial artist and finally, a possible future champion.
They'll get to business pretty quickly. Keep on ticking. Impressive in his performance.
He's really trusting it as of late.
Right cross himself. Oh, wow, a leaping front kick to the face. Body kick. Big one from Oliveira. Nick Lentz is down. Charles Du Bronx Oliveira. In the UFC, Jared Flash Gordon, meanwhile.
He was on Instagram. If you give him a follow, you see him. He's been working on that a lot.
Wow, Gordon's out. Wow. Power
Knockout! Charles "The Bronx" Oliveira!
Kevin Lee was seen as a big step up in competition for DeBronx before the bout, but once the octagon door closed, things looked the other way around. Charles opened with some crisp hooks and a few jumping kicks. Although Lee was considered a better striker, he was lit up in the second round as Oliveira was much more successful in the pocket.
He's backing up, trying to buy some time. And Charles is growing in confidence here, starting to mix it up.
Oh, Lee lands with a right hand here, so too does Oliveira.
At the start of the third, Lee looked to take it to the ground again, only to find himself in an inescapable guillotine.
Oliveira forces the tap! Charles Oliveira, another submission!
Charles "The Bronx" Oliveira!
The stage for Oliveira's true breakthrough performance was set. Charles was set to face the boogeyman, Tony Ferguson. Despite coming off a legendary beatdown by Justin Gaethje, Ferguson was still one of the top contenders and had a 12-fight win streak prior to his latest loss. Oliveira's demeanor throughout the entire fight week was different. It looked like he finally found the champion in him, and everyone could notice just by the way he carried himself. And the performance only proved it. Charles was feinting, staying tight, and landing kicks. His striking was finally not only admirable for a Brazilian jiu-jitsu ace, but also at a true championship level. Then he showed his outstanding wrestling and effortless transitions on the ground. Tony was in deep. Near the end of the opening round, Charles caught Ferguson's arm in a gruesome armbar, but El Cucuy somehow persevered.
Oh my goodness, he might have broken his arm.
After another 2 rounds of complete dominance on the ground, Oliveira positioned himself as the next title challenger.
Yeah.
So he went back there.
Look at even this. Look at this. Right into a triangle. Oh my goodness.
Since returning to 155 pounds, late elbow there from Ferguson. But Charles "The Bronx" Oliveira.
Wow. Charles "The Bronx" Oliveira!
And with Khabib voluntarily relinquishing the throne, the lightweight strap was up for grabs. His opponent for the vacant belt was the new favorite of the UFC brass, former Bellator champion, Iron Michael Chandler. Chandler's lone UFC bout was a devastating KO win over Dan Hooker, but his extensive record and marketability made him a suitable title contender.
Da minha parte é uma guerra, e mandando pra frente o tempo inteiro.
Get that KO, baby. That's what we're looking for. If not, we'll be there hard for 25 minutes. Either way, we're ready.
Mas é o meu momento, é a minha hora, chegou, a gente vai ser campeão do UFC, né? E ele chegou no momento errado.
I think I'm going to make him second guess himself in every single exchange, whether we're on the feet or we're on the ground, and that's where we're going. I'm going to get my hand raised on Saturday night.
No UFC eu lembro que eu falei que eu queria fazer história, eu venho fazendo história. Eu quero mostrar para todo mundo que eu posso lutar com esses grandes campeões, com esses grandes nomes que tem dentro do UFC. Quero fazer história. Sim, para cima, vamos ser campeões.
Lift you up.
The tale of the fight mirrored much of the life of Oliveira, a mythical comeback story. Chandler quickly found a home for his explosive hooks and hurt Oliveira before punishing his takedown attempt with a fight-threatening guillotine.
It's real tight.
The Brazilian took the initiative and spent a lot of time on Chandler's back, who did what very few have managed and survived the dire situation. He not only survived, but almost knocked Charles out with a barrage of punches.
Turn to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no
Chandler's power is hurting Oliveira every time he touches it.
If anything, this sequence showed that Oliveira's quitting days are just a thing of the distant past. The Oliveira that came out for the second round was on fire.
Off of that jab early. Oh! Knockdown for Oliveira now!
Seconds in, he threw a picture-perfect cross-left hook combo, which sent Iron Mike tumbling.
Now a knee to the body for Charles on the right hand. Chandler retrieves it. Now Chandler is down. Charles
A ruthless but calculated barrage of punches crowned by another left hook made Oliveira the undisputed lightweight champion of the UFC. If you've ever wondered what brings tears to a grown man's eye, I will tell you. It's watching moments like this. The first title defense for the newly crowned champion was Dustin Poirier, another stalwart of the lightweight division, who was coming back into the title picture after earning his big paychecks against Conor McGregor. The fight at UFC 269 started, and yet again, Oliveira found himself rattled. Charles landed some of his own punches and stayed at close range thanks to subtle but effective head movement. But Dustin's punches were stinging harder, and Charles was knocked down again.
Throw the overhand right. Oh, big right hand over the top. He's in trouble. Front kick to the liver. Oh!
During the wild round, Poirier established himself as the more effective striker.
30 seconds.
Oh my goodness, Poirier's just cracking him. Kick to the body over and over and over again.
So for the next round, Charles resolved to do what he does best: dominate on the ground.
Anywhere near your backside.
Oh! He's trying to keep Dustin in close, but he's holding on to the glove in an illegal way.
Yep.
See the way he's pulling the glove like that? Oh man,
Oh my goodness, he's happy to be right here.
Oh. With Poirier holding on. Oh, got tagged again in a closed guard. Like where he's. Oh, and another one.
Ooh, instead of forfeiting a position that resulted in the end of the fight. So,
after draining the gas tank and stealing Poirier's soul in the second round, the champion quickly found his back at the start of the third. And as we've seen, very few people survived the back attack of Charles, and the tired Poirier was surely not going to be one of them.
Look at him. He's so happy.
Charles Oliveira, my goodness, man.
I don't know what he's yelling.
And still!
You have this kind of fire and confidence that maybe you didn't have earlier in your career. I'm just curious kind of where you turned the corner. Like what changed that now you have this confidence that you have now?
Olha, a gente vem de 10 vitórias seguidas. A minha filha nasceu, eu mudei a chave. Eu queria ser campeão. Eu quero me manter campeão. Eu quero construir um legado. Sabe, eu tô vivo, eu quero mostrar que eu tô vivo. As pessoas falam que eu não posso, eu mostro que eu posso.
10 straight wins. My daughter was born. I can kind of turn the key. And I changed, and I just changed for the better. And it's a legacy. I want to make history. I want to build a legacy. I want to show people that I can.
If anyone had any doubts about the legitimacy of Charles Oliveira's status as the best 155-pounder in the world, they were dissolved at this moment. The new #1 contender was Justin Gaethje, who established the position after his fight of the year against Michael Chandler. The fight at UFC 274 was brief but epic. But there were some issues before the first bell. Oliveira was half a pound above the weight limit, and since it was a championship fight, there was no tolerance. He had an hour to lose the precious little water he had in his body, but the scale didn't move despite his best efforts. The UFC made the questionable decision to strip Charles of the belt, and only Gaethje could claim it, should he win. It's worth noting that other people weighed half a pound heavier, and it seemed the problem was with the scale itself, but nonetheless, the decision was final. Once again, the odds were stacked against Oliveira, but he performed like a true champion and went straight for Justin's head. Repeating yet again the same story of his previous championship bouts, Oliveira was rocked and dropped only to come back and knock down and then strangle his opponent.
Swing knee, guillotine attempt, right hand. Clipped him again.
Through half a round. Gaethje back to work on the leg kick, landed a right hand.
Oh!
Big knockdown with a right for Oliveira. Now trying to transition to the back.
This Oliveira is just, oh my goodness.
Gaethje's out.
He can't let him take his back. Oh, he's got the choke.
He's gonna go to sleep.
Oh my goodness.
That is gonna do it.
This dude right
Who
here,
can
man.
stop Charles Oliveira? 19 finishes in his 21 UFC wins.
What does this feel like to have won, but have the title stripped from you because of the
very controversial issue with the scale.
O campeão se chama Charles Oliveira, o Charles do Bronx.
The champion has a name, and it's Charles Oliveira from the Bronx.
Even without his belt, Oliveira was the one and only lightweight champion. But the fairy tale ended, at least for now, at UFC 280. Islam Makhachev was on a mission to fulfill the plan of the Dagestani team and assume the lightweight throne after his close friend Khabib Nurmagomedov vacated it. And on that night in Abu Dhabi, Islam was just one step ahead of Charles everywhere.
Pressure of Oliveira. Oliveira takes him to the ground here. Makhachev passes the half guard.
Trying to get up. Nice job there from Oliveira. Herzog using his Brazilian Portuguese to tell Charles Oliveira get his hand off the top. Charles swirls the hip.
In the second, he put him down with a right hook and finished the job with an arm triangle.
Oliveira would do good. Oh! Knockdown from Makhachev.
Arm triangle. Oh, this is tight.
Tips. Islam Makhachev. And new undisputed UFC lightweight champion.
If anyone knows how to bounce back from everything in life, it's Oliveira. His quest to reclaim lightweight gold squared him up against the steadily rising Beneil Dariush, who was coming off an 8-fight win streak. Bronx started aggressively as usual, but had to spend some time on the bottom of Dariush, who is an accomplished grappler in his own right.
Oh, gotta watch the up kicks.
Once back on the feet though, Oliveira wasted no time and overwhelmed the Iranian with strikes on the feet. Before ruthlessly finishing what he started with ground and pound.
Oh, he's hurt Beneil. Oh, big right hand! Dariush goes down! Oh, my goodness, Beneil is hurt bad. Dariush covering up. Maybe not intelligently defending. Charles Oliveira! Unbelievable.
He must hit so hard. It's hard not to be a fan of Charles Oliveira.
With the dominant win, Charles extended his own record for the most finishes in the UFC to 20.
Obviously, you are the all-time submission leader in the UFC, but we don't talk enough about your striking.
Eu venho treinando, eu venho fazendo musculação, ficando mais forte, eu venho treinando na Chute Boxe, eu venho treinando no meu DNA, no Macaco Rodim. Eu venho treinando todos os dias, eu quero aprender todos os dias, eu quero crescer todos os dias, eu quero estar perto das pessoas que vão fazer eu evoluir. É isso que tá dando certo.
I have been training this at all times. I mean, you look at me, I'm weight training a lot, training at Chute Boxe. I've been improving along and becoming better. That's what I want to do. I want to improve and become better all the time.
Charles, what has the mentality been like throughout this camp? I know that you are in search of that world title once again.
É de campeão. Essa é a mentalidade que eu tenho que ter. O campeão tem nome, todo mundo sabe disso. Não vai mudar. Eu tô pronto mentalmente, fisicamente, espiritualmente.
The mentality, the mindset of a champion. Hey, your champion has a name, you know what's the name. I'm ready mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Regardless of whether Oliveira wins the title again or not, his whole career, in fact his entire life, is a lesson for us. He came from literally nothing to a world title, grew before our eyes, and still remained one of the most humble and exemplary champions. Sometimes, real life is even better than fiction.